Good morning. This is Shri here with a quick recap of some of the matches that took place in the men's draw on the fourth round. So let's start quickly with uh, the American Tommy Paul playing against Davidovich. I had a chance to watch at least the first set and a half, and Tommy Paul, who was here in the Australian Open, who was in the semifinals in 2023, played really amazing. I mean, he had an early break and never looked back. His first serve percentage was phenomenal at 67, and winning percentage on the first serve was close to 84, while Fokina's was close to 46. So, and the break points, Tommy Paul had a lot of break points. Obviously, the game was 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, and Tommy Paul looked really good. I got a chance to watch the highlights for after the second and third set, and he didn't leave. I think this is setting up a good um, quarterfinals with Zverev. So that's where it's going to be. It's going to be Zverev and uh, Paul and Djokovic. We'll get to Djokovic and Alcaraz as well. But um, Tommy Paul was really good. I think we still have a few Americans left in the draw. You've got Tien, you've got Ben Shelton. They'll all be playing tonight. So he moves on to the quarterfinals. And let's get to the next one. Alcaraz played again Jack Draper from UK. Got a chance to watch. It was late in the morning, early morning, so didn't get to watch the actual match, but got to watch the extended highlights, some of the press conferences as well. Alcaraz was really good at everything he does. I mean, with his new serve, he really had Jack Draper on the run, got him early in the sixth game of the first set, broke him up 4-2. Was serving for the set actually at 5-3, but give credit to Draper. Draper, lefty, huge serve. Definitely came in. One of the things that I see watching some of the players, especially on these hard courts, is they're just staying on the baseline and going back and forth and just trying to see who makes the mistake. But it was actually good to see Draper, and then Alcaraz is classic. I mean, he has his drop shots, and he's always going to do something extraordinary. And but Draper too, I really saw him coming to the net, serving, coming to the net, finish up with a volley, put the Alcaraz on the back foot. That's how he won, broke back, and then went to 5-all. And Alcaraz hit a almost screaming passing shot to get the first set at 7-5. And in the second set, you really could see that Draper had a lot of uncomfortable moments. He seemed out of sorts. Definitely Alcaraz picked up on it. Didn't have get a chance to give Draper. He didn't give a chance for Draper to come back. And once Alcaraz went up 3-0, it was curtains down for Draper, and Draper did his best to stay in the game, but you could definitely see that he wasn't moving as well as in the first set, and Alcaraz sensed it. And once the second set was over, in the changeover, it seemed that Draper would call it quits. So Alcaraz moves on to the quarterfinals without playing a full third set, but Draper was hurt. And I mean, something that even when we saw in the U.S. Open, um, Draper was playing against Sinner. He was very uncomfortable on the court. He was throwing up. So not sure if these two incidents are related, but could be really hot in Australia right now. But definitely seemed that injury bug has bit him, and it was really sad for it. I was looking for this match. I thought Draper would definitely take one set off Alcaraz, one or two sets of Alcaraz, and would make it very interesting going to the fifth set. But there you have it. Alcaraz moves on to the quarterfinals, and who does he get? He gets the world number 7 right now with Djokovic. It's very interesting to actually say that word. And he played again another Czech player, Lehečka, someone who's been talked up a lot in Andy Roddick's podcast with JW. And you got to watch the highlights, but Djokovic was just on form. I mean, I can't see anybody at the age of 37 years old who can move as well as Djokovic. There was a couple of points where Lechka hits a great drop shot. Djokovic makes a run and then flicks it over the net, and Lehechka was in no man's land. So Lehechka was gave everything he had, but I think the player today who was better was Djokovic. He was serving well. He was able to move Lehechka all over the court. There was one point, I think closer in the third set tiebreaker at 2-1, Djokovic. I thought Lehechka would win that point, but Djokovic somehow comes up with a magical shot. He turns defense into offense, and there is no better player than Djokovic in doing that. And I thought that point was always going to Lehechka, but Djokovic comes up with a just an unbelievable way to finish that. And then he had an open court to finish it. But the way he sets up his opponents is well documented. He lulls them into sleep, and then he just goes on and whips out a forehand or a backhand in no man's land. So Djokovic moves on, sets up this huge, um, I would say, quarterfinal showdown with Alcaraz. Both Dr. Dan and I did pick both of them to meet, and Dr. Dan has Djokovic going on to the quarter semifinals and also eventually winning it. But I do have Alcaraz beating Djokovic. I definitely feel Alcaraz has got a new serve. Djokovic coming up an injury. Djokovic first two matches he had four sets, but the last two against the two Czech players he won it rather easily. I mean, of course, there was one set where he went to 7-5 or 7-6, but other than that, I didn't really see any discomfort in the way Djokovic was playing. Um, this is going to be a tough one, and we just saw Djokovic and Alcaraz play in Torino, I think, and then prior to that, it was the gold medal match in France. And of course, Alcaraz played him in the Wimbledon, as we know. But this is a hard court. I mean, conventional wisdom says Djokovic, but I'm going to stick with my pick for Alcaraz to move on to the quarter to the semifinals. And the other one, we have Tommy Paul playing against Zverev. Tommy Paul is playing just lights out. Zverev coming up a big win against Hugo Humbert and Tommy Paul. This will be a battle, and I think I'm going to stay with Zverev too because that's the player I picked to go to the semifinals to face Alcaraz. I think he's going to go in and um, take care of Tommy Paul. I mean, I think Tommy Paul has played as good as any player should be playing, but I know he's played some good players, but I think he's going to run into Zverev, who's weak. He's from a talent and a skill level, and just playing someone who's way better than him. I think it's going to be tough for. I think he'll play. It'll be a 4 or 5 setter, but I'm going to predict Zverev to move on in the semifinals. But before we get to that, we do have a few matches. American Alex Michelson is going to play today. You have um, Sonego. You got Sinner and Rune. That's going to be a big one at 10 p.m. Would be right after the right during the NFL playoffs. But that'll be a good game to watch. Then you got Sonego playing against Lerner Tien from United States. That's at 10:30 as well. And then you got the Monfils Magic versus Ben Shelton. I definitely favor Ben Shelton in that. I think Monfils, again, he's played really good. He took care of Taylor Fritz. But Shelton is a different beast. He's playing really well right now. I mean, a lot of people did have questions on him, but he has actually come through. He has played good tennis. I mean, not just from a serving standpoint. I mean, I've seen a lot of his highlights, and he's definitely come up big. And uh, his forehand has improved. His backhand has definitely improved. So I can see him moving. I can see Shelton moving on to the quarterfinals, and then the Sonego Tien. I think I'm going to stay with the experience of Sonego versus Tien. Again, he's not a ranked player as well, but who knows? Tien can catch lightning in a bottle and move on as well. But I'm going to stick with Sonego, and then in the Sinner Rune. I'm going to stick with Sinner for this match. And then you got the another American, Alex Michelson, playing against Diminor. Diminor playing in front of the home crowd. I definitely see um, De Minaur taking this one. Alex Michelson has been a good story so far from an American standpoint. He has played really well. He's done everything that you would ask him to do. He's beaten Karen Kachnow. He beat McCabe, and then he beat Tsitsipas too. So um, he's actually won two big matches against two seeded players, um, against Tsitsipas and Kachnow. So that is one of the reasons why I'm going to give um you know Mickelson. You know what? I'm sorry. I think I was talking about Diminor. I think Mickelson is playing well, but I do think that Mickelson um, playing against Diminor, I think it's going to be a fun match. I think I definitely I'm going to pick Diminor in that match, because I think he beat like Sorrentino and then Van der Schulp, who was the Alcaraz killer. But I think we'll go with Diminor there. So I was a little out there, but anyway, that's where I see it. It's a good Australian Open so far. Chalk in a lot of things, but there are going to be some Sinner and Rune, and then Sinner is going to face somebody who's going to be from Tien, from could be Monfils, Shelton, Tien, or Sonego. Could be one of them. Anyway, with that, we wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening.